I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. I'm the Vice President of Engineering for Graphic Automation, a subsidiary of Goss International. If you have any questions today, you can easily submit them through the webinar itself, through the Q&A button on your panel, and the moderator will either respond to them through the seminar or after the seminar via email, depending on the time constraints and how many other requests we have for messages. So, if everybody's ready, let's get started. Goss is your total solutions provider. We are innovation focused on today's challenges to the printing business. We have a customer first culture. We provide upgrades, enhancements, factory rebuilds, used equipment, services, and spare parts. We move forward through both organic and inorganic growth in our company. The Goss webinar series is put together to provide information on targeted enhancements to improve your printing process. These targeted improvements impact the bottom line in a way that helps printers to be more cost effective and more competitive. First question. A lot of words get thrown around. What's an enhancement? By our standards, an enhancement provides waste reduction and cost savings. That's number one. You've got to save money, make your process more competitive. Number two, performance improvement. We got to make it better than it was when it shipped out the door. Number three, obsolete component replacement. If you have obsolete components, it affects your performance, it affects your waste. We got to get those things out of the equipment. Today's webinar focuses on the enhancements for the T23 Infeed and HCR chills that achieve these benefits. Now, when we're talking about T23 Infeed and HCR chill rolls, Goss over the years has acquired several different companies. Of them, Harris Graphics, Heidelberg Harris, and then Goss International as it stands today. So a lot of things we're talking about relate to those presses. On a side note, the technology developed for this enhancement lends itself to infeeds and chills on several non-Goss pieces of equipment. MegTech and QuadTech both are third-party vendors who manufactured chills and infeeds, and we have adapted chill and infeed retrofits for third-party equipment, including Meg, Quad, and several different manufacturers of presses. So don't be shy or don't think that, well, I have other equipment that this won't account for. Let us know if you have an infeed and a chill on your press. We can look it over and see what we can do about upgrading your infeed and a chill. Let's talk about benefits. Everything has to have a benefit if you want to do it. If you don't have a benefit, you don't want to spend your money on it. So the first benefit, number one, paramount to all, you have to reduce waste and save cost. This infeed and chill upgrade utilizes modern AC technology to control the infeed and chill. This technology allows better web control, which directly affects make ready and run waste. By regulating tension at slower speeds, you're able to get register and color on quicker, putting you on the good counter quicker. The quicker you're on the good counter, the more labor, paper, and consumables you're saving. Also, better tension control means less web breaks. Less web breaks, to anybody in the printing business, saves paper, manpower, and consumable costs and unexpected delays. The upgrade also uses modern, commercially available components which are easy to replace and source. AC drive motors have a longer maintenance-free life as opposed to the existing DC motors. Less maintenance cost, less parts cost. And in today's world, maintenance personnel are hard to come by to work on older equipment. So as we put newer technology in older equipment, it makes it so that your newer maintenance personnel are more adept at fixing problems quicker and cheaper. The second benefit, performance improvement. And using the AC drive technology on this thing, the Infeed and Chill are able to regulate from 0 speed up to max speed, whereas the original system had very little control at slow speeds. This allows tension control at slower speeds and throughout the speed range. The existing chill motor that's on the chills today in the field is unable to regulate until 10% press speed. This retrofit system starts regulating a continuous run. And I'll digress here for just a second. If you're running any type of inline finishing, rotary cutters, stuff like that, they pull very hard. They pull on the web very hard. And if your chills can't adapt to it, your old chill rolls, you're always fighting tension while you're accelerating presses with inline and that type of equipment on the end of it. So going to a modern AC drive chill roll allows you to actually pull up and push as much paper as you want past the dryer towards the inline finishing so that you don't have web breaks while you're accelerating running that specific type of post-press equipment. Also, when you can regulate tension closer, you can run lighter and different stock paper. That's a big problem, lighter stock papers, to a lot of customers, because when you go to a lighter stock paper to save cost, customer requirements, whatever reason it is, you can't maintain tension because you have to crank the tension up. And when you crank the tension up, you break the web. So the capability to handle lighter stocks through finer and more linear web control is a great benefit for your tension system and your press. And again, a performance factor is better regulation. It reduces web breaks. That's huge. Third benefit, obsolete part replacement. The original Infeed and Chill control system was designed as an analog, discrete, custom component system. This enhancement is put together using modern AC drive technology. The Infeed and Chill on the legacy equipment we're talking about, Harris, Cottrell, Harris, you go way back, was developed almost 50 years ago. And it's been the benchmark through the commercial publication businesses and insert for Infeed and Chill control. It's changed very little over the years. They've Gauss, Heidelberg, Harris, they've changed components to keep up as components became obsolete. But really, the system is very similar to what it was 50 years ago. It's time for a change, and with modern AC drive technology, now is the time. Also, this technology allows easier access to commercially available parts and sensors. So, in order to accomplish these three benefits, we need to have an understanding of what the Infeed and Chill do and how they do it. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes here going through what does an Infeed and Chill do for the layperson. Pressman, it will be, if there's pressman on the line, it'll be something they already know. But for the layperson, we'll go through quick what an Infeed and Chill do and how important they really are to the printing process. What is the purpose of an Infeed and a Chill? An Infeed provides a closed-loop means of maintaining and creating web tension on a press. It literally, you dial an amount of tension in to an Infeed. On the old Infeeds, you dialed it in via a regulator, a pressure regulator with your hand. That's how you dialed it in. And the Infeed itself maintained that pressure. The newest Infeeds have a digital display on them that you dial the pressure in with. Regardless of vintage, you're dialing in a pressure, and the infeed is maintaining that pressure. The chill roll, it's the next tension control device in the press after the infeed that creates web tension. Think of it this way. If you're in a tug of war with a rope, one set of people on the left is the infeed, the people on the right are the chill roll. And what they do is the infeed controls the amount of tension between that rope so that you keep the rope or the marker in the middle of the rope right over the mud hole so nobody gets pulled in the mud on a game of tug of war. So on a press, there is a game of tug of war that's going on, and you need both sides to pull exactly the same so that nobody ends up in the pit. Now, an infeed and chill that we're talking about utilize a harmonic drive, a trim motor, and speed control electronics. How, through the things we've talked about, does the infeed and chill create and maintain that tension? An infeed is a driven roll that runs slightly faster or slower than the bearer speed of the press, which in turn increases or decreases web tension because you're either pulling harder or not quite as hard. The rolls on a chill run slightly faster or slower than the bearer speed of the press, which in turn increases or decreases web tension. A properly operating infeed and chill will maintain a preset value of tension on the press. Proper tension is needed to maintain consistent register, color, and minimize web breaks. By the way, in here we've said register, color, also cutoff of your folder. The infeed, the model of the infeed that came out from Harris way back when was called the T23. And over the years, there's different acronyms after the T23, but basically a T23 infeed and a HCR chill is what we're talking about here for some of the more specific items. But remember, we can adapt this to several different models of chills that are not Harris or Goss legacy infeeds or chills. So an infeed and chill use a trim motor, a harmonic motor, a driven roll, a nip roll, a dancer roll on the infeed, or some people call it a floating roller, a bellafram, that's on the infeed, and a dancer position sensor, or the strain gauge, and that's on the infeed only. These are the major components on infeeds and chills. What I'm showing you here is a picture of a two-web infeed or chill electronic enclosure. They're almost identical when you open the door and look at them, infeed or chill. If you look on the left-hand side, there's the preamplifier cards. They have little LEDs on them, or the older ones did not have LEDs. They had a line of pots along the edge of those PC boards. Those big blue things on the bottom are capacitors. They're hooked to huge or very large high-power linear power supplies. Also, up top, those are called the heat sink boards. Those are power amplifiers. They use transistors and the such to actually drive the trim motor. This is a close-up of one of those preamplifier cards. You can see its little transistors, op amps, capacitors, resistors, LEDs, dip switches. This has been developed with changes for close to 50 years. This is the latest model. This is a heatsink board. Same thing, power transistors, capacitors, resistors, that kind of stuff. And you'll see on each of these slides, it says obsolete, obsolete, obsolete. Goss still has residual stock of these parts, but those residual stock parts are not infinite. The components, the manufacturers that make them and stuff like that just no longer do it. So it's one of those situations where as these parts go away, you can no longer get the parts. This here is a strain gauge. It's a Wheatstone bridge mounted on a very specific piece of stainless steel that measures the flex as the dancer roll moves up or down. It actually measures the amount of flex in that little tiny piece of stainless steel, and that information is run through the preamplifier card. It's sorted out, and it decides how much power it needs to send to the motor to tell it which direction to run and at what speed to maintain the tension that's required. Okay, what's the most common electrical failure or maintenance items on an Infeed or a chill? Well, the preamp cards, the heatsink cards, the DC motor, which is also called the trim motor, or the motor tack. The motor tack is more common failure than the actual motor, but the motor tack is mounted on the motor. So several times that's both changed. They're both changed. And the strain gauge. The Infeed actually has a strain gauge where the chill does not. Which of these components are eliminated with this Infeed and chill enhancement? Well, we get rid of the preamp card. We get rid of the heatsink card. We get rid of that DC motor and DC motor tack. And we get rid of the strain gauge. Here's a quick shot of a actual T23 Infeed enhancement that's been complete. You notice it's using that right there is an AC vector drive. So all the heatsink board, preamp cards, they've all been integrated into a modern AC drive itself. The other components you see in that picture are control components and that kind of stuff. So we've taken all those components and reduced them down to a very few components, which are commercially available components. In the chill roll, which is a little different in control because it doesn't have a strain gauge, it needs an outside reference or whatever. We also have the AC vector drive, but we also have a little mini PLC there so that this is adaptable to a lot more chill rolls than just the Harris chill rolls. There's also on the chill roll, you see there's some connectors coming out of the drives. Those actually go to a touchscreen user interface that mounts on the press console to eliminate the multi-turn potentiometer that's on the console that controls chill speed today. Okay, what's included in the enhancement? You get an AC sensorless vector drive system that eliminates, like we talked about, the preamp, heatsink, and the power supplies. You get a high-resolution AC motor that replaces a DC trim motor, and it eliminates a motor tack. This system is a sensorless vector system, which means it does not require a tack. Another failure item that goes away. We also use a non-contact position sensor to eliminate the strain gauge. This is a device that does not turn or rotate or anything. It's non-contact. So everything that moves, rotates, or twists is always a failure item. We've eliminated that failure point. And on the chill roll, we mount a touchscreen on the console to increase or decrease and also monitor some of the conditions of the drive actually on the console itself. There's other benefits to the new system. You get to put this stuff on there and leave the same mechanical system in the chill and the Infeed. You get to leave the same pneumatic system on the chill and the Infeed. And you continue to use the same harmonic drive system in the Infeed and the chill. Along the lines of the same mechanical harmonic system, we have commitments from vendors that the mechanical harmonic system is not obsolete. So the harmonic inside the Infeed and the chill is a modern product, even though it has been around for pushing 50 years now. It's been new metallurgy, new technology, but for all intents and purposes, you can replace the harmonic system, the bearing, the can, everything associated with it through Gauss can provide all the parts for it, and there isn't an issue in sourcing parts for that. Another good benefit is the system is designed so you have commonality of parts between the Infeed and chill. These systems look very close. Big difference on the chill side, there's a little PLC on it to communicate with a touchscreen on the console and adapt speed reference signals. It's not required on Infeed. Other than that, very similar. What we have here, this is actually the white paper or the flyer that gets sent out if somebody requests the enhancement for the Infeed and chill roll, okay, this has been sent out by Goss. But don't fret if you do not have a Goss system, because we can adapt this system to several Infeeds, which we have. And if you're wondering, the presses I have right now, if you take, for all intents and purposes, a shafted Harris Graphics, Heidelberg Harris, or Goss press that has an Infeed and a chill on it, there is a good possibility this is a drop-in retrofit for it. Let's talk about Goss today. Goss is headquartered in Durham, New Hampshire. It's an American-owned company. It has 612 employees globally, about 250 in the United States. It has over 15,000 web offset units out there in the world. And it has the largest support organization in North America for printing equipment. Goss is committed to make your products run faster, better, quicker, save you money, make you more profitable as printers. And this webinar series, there are several to come after this, of the different retrofits on presses, are put together to help keep you informed of what you may have available for your press that you're unaware of. If you have questions about this or any product that Goss provides, you can contact us at info@gossinternational.com. Most customers, depending on size or how often they use us, they actually have a Goss International salesman that calls on them. You can ask him. You can call the 1-800 number at Goss and say you need to speak to somebody about a retrofit or part. We're in the enhancement business. We're in the new and certified pre-owned equipment business. We're in the relocation business. We're in the service and parts business for all things printing. If we've had a requirement for it, we work to cover it. Anyway, if there's any questions, probably the moderator will pipe in here on some of the questions if we have them, or they may have already answered them in the background. So the floor is open for anybody. I'll be on here a couple more minutes. So thank you for watching today. We know your time is valuable. We're all in it to make printing continue to be a profitable business. So thank you for listening today.